This is Alabama Politics with Steve Flowers, an in-depth interview with Alabama's top political newsmakers. Now, from the studios of Troy University, here is Steve Flowers.
I'm Steve Flowers, and welcome to Alabama Politics. Folks, we're fortunate tonight to have, as I guess, one of the rising stars in the state legislature, a distinguished young man. I say young, he's pretty young. He's a good man from Enterprise, Alabama. Y'all look at the screen, it says, you think his name is Rhett Marques. It's Marques, Rhett Marques. His ancestors were some of the early people in Alabama, and they came in through that Mobile Bay, and as you know, the French settled Mobile, and he got that name from being from Baldwin in Mobile County, and moved on up to Enterprise, the Wiregrass, about 21, 22 years ago, and he and his wife settled in there, and they bought Goodson Tire Company there in Enterprise. And those of you who are watching know how fast and how prosperous Enterprise has grown, and what an outstanding school system they have. And he's got a great district. His district is Coffee County, and it's got one of the fastest growing prosperous cities in the state in Enterprise, which is the bulk of the district. But Rhett, good to have you on the show.
Great to be here with you, Mr. Flowers. It's always a pleasure to talk to you today, anytime.
Well, we were talking on the show prior to this. My old longtime friend, Senator Jimmy Holly, represented Coffee County, and I was representing Pike. We sat together for 16 years in the House, and then he moved to the Senate and has been there probably 25 or 30 years. His district is, and we both were just talking about what a great friend and legislator, and especially mentor.
Absolutely, Mr. Flowers. I tell you what, it is an honor every time I get to go up and talk to Senator Holly. He has always given me his time, and he has more institutional knowledge of anybody I've in the House or the Senate. He is a fantastic friend and mentor to me, and to many.
He really is. You're very fortunate to have that opportunity to serve with him, and our area of the state's lucky to have him because his experience pays off. Well, you were on the city. Now tell us about your wife and children. Now, your wife, y'all met at the University of Alabama.
We did. We met at the University of Alabama and been married for, good gracious, about 27
and
years now.
You're 48.
Yes, sir. And we have two daughters. One is 22, Amelia, and she's at the University of Alabama as a senior. And our youngest daughter, Mary Reeves, she is a freshman at Birmingham Southern, and very proud of them and all they've become. And I tell you what, my wife Christina, she has really supported me and helped me, and as long as we've been married and before. She's a terrific person.
Got two girls. I had to have two girls. You know, Rhett, let me ask you this about the Wiregrass. You got a great delegation. I love y'all's area. I got a picture of us on the wall.
Yes, sir.
With one time before the session, something. It was me and you and Wes Allen and the mayor, Jeff's in there, and then Steve Klaus is in there, I think.
Yes.
Maybe it's just y'all freshmen in that picture.
Well, I tell you what, and of course I'm biased, but I think we have the Wiregrass delegation is the best in the state. From Representative Mike Jones in Covington County. He comes into Coffee County too. Representative Chris Sells, he lives in Greenville, but he has part of Coffee County, and Representative Paul Lee from Dothan, and Representative Klaus from Ozark, and with Senator Holly and Senator Chastain. I tell you what, I don't think we could have a better group of people. And coming in with Jeff Sorrells and Wes Allen at the same time, it has been an honor beyond belief, just to be around them. They are a fantastic group of people, and we truly care about each other, and we truly like each other, and we want to help each other. And I think that is obvious with the things that we are getting in the Wiregrass. We are helping each other. And supporting each other, and I tell you, we were talking about mentors. Senator Holly is, but so is Representative Klaus, Representative Jones, Representative Sells, and Representative Lee, and Senator Chastain. They all have taken Representative Allen and Representative Sorrells and myself under their wing and guided us, and really, if we have questions, which you're going to as a freshman, and they take their time with us and help us.
One thing that we were talking about before the show too is that Representative Steve Klaus is my lifetime, one of my best friends in the world, and I was talking to him about the new members in the Wiregrass, and he was really excited about you and Mayor Sarles and Wes, because y'all all had experience in government. He said now Rhett's been on the city council, Enterprise, Jeff's been mayor of Hartford, and Wes has been probate judge of Pike County. So y'all, even though y'all are freshman House members, government is not new to y'all.
That's correct.
You understand how it works.
That's true.
He was real proud of that y'all would come in and have a great group. You know, you alluded to the fact y'all work together. Let me ask you, the first thing you were hit with, and it was that road, raising the gas tax for the road program.
Yes, sir.
But if I'm not mistaken, everybody in the Wiregrass voted for that.
That is correct, including Representative Dexter Grimsley.
He voted with it too.
He voted with the two, and he does a great job with
he does.
Henry County.
I really like Dexter.
Let me tell you something. That's a fine person.
He sure
He's a
is.
fine person. He represents his constituents in the Wiregrass and the state well, and glad to have him in that delegation also. But we did. You know, it wasn't easy. Nobody likes to raise taxes.
Right.
But you know, when you have a deteriorating infrastructure as we did, and we have the needs across the state and the Wiregrass, we had to address them somehow, and we could not continuously kick the can down the road. We had not had an increase in our revenues on the gas side in 27 years, and you know, we're seeing benefits with that gas tax, with roads coming in. With last night during the State of the State, Governor Ivey announced a new portion of Geneva County that's going to be 4-lane, and that's going to help the Wiregrass also. But Coffee County, we've gotten a number of projects
from state funding.
Because of that. And so we're benefiting, so that money is not being wasted. We put in a lot of provisions to make sure that we had control of that money, and they was going in the right direction and could not be misused.
You did a good job. I think I supported it editorially, and
yes,
think
you
it's
did.
a great
Thank
thing.
you for that.
Great thing to do. But let me ask you this: is there a certain, when y'all went to Governor Ivey and Joe Bonner and talked to him about the is there a certain one project that benefits the entire Wiregrass, or is there a rivalry that there's Houston County want the 231? Y'all have developed to be a route. Enterprise is a more.
Yes, sir.
Is there any rivalry? Are y'all trying to expand that? Is it 431?
Through Enterprise is 167.
167, that's been
from the Florida line to Troy,
right.
And that is going to be that's something and that we are looking at and working with and working on, and we as a delegation really worked hard on that, which is one reason why that portion of Highway 52 that the governor alluded to, the Geneva.
Where is that exactly?
Coming out of Slocum, Malvern, into Hartford. And
what was the need for that road? Why
it allows Dothan, who is getting overloaded with traffic
on the circle.
It gives them another artery out of town. Right now you have 231 North, 231 South, 431, et cetera, and 84, of course. But this gives another route for people coming up from Florida to get to Dothan, to get to the Wiregrass.
Because they come to those medical centers.
Absolutely. You know, and that's a great
point.
Was
the point. That was what it was for. It was to get the people that come in the Panhandle to get to the hospitals.
You know, and that is a great point. We have excellent hospitals in the Wiregrass.
Really do.
Enterprise Medical Center, Flower, Southeast Medical. These are regional medical centers. I mean, these draw people from Florida, Georgia, and Alabama. And you know, they're vital to drawing people to our communities, those hospitals. But you got to have infrastructure to get people moved around. And that area, that 52 area that we were talking about, it was an artery for Dothan, and Dothan needed that. But Dothan is also supporting a need for a 167 to be 4-laned. To Enterprise.
That's the big project.
That eventually is the big project, because we have gotten we have talked to the Florida DOT and gotten confirmation that they would be willing to come from the interstate to the Alabama line.
Those folks are going down there.
Yeah, that's right. And if but that commitment would be only if Alabama had committed to start at the intersection, at the Florida state line and move north. And 4-lane.
Dothan's not opposed to that.
And they are not opposed to that because they see that as another way, because of this 4-lane of 52 into Dothan. They see a 4-lane of the from the interstate all the way up into Hartford, which will help Hartford and which will help eventually Coffee County going into the Enterprise, and maybe one day, you'll see that from Enterprise to Troy. That's the long-term vision. And that's the long-term goal.
Yeah.
It is, and I think 167 is a route that a lot of people take, as you probably do, going to the beach because you live in Troy and going south. But you have a military base in Enterprise, Delville, but it shares it, and Fort Rucker is vital to the Wiregrass region. It is essential. Troops coming in, troops coming out, but also retirees, etc. And so 167 is a path for the military base if they need it.
Okay.
But it also transports it would transport goods on a 4-lane, and people, tourism. But economic development is the key. Eventually, will help the entire Wiregrass. But this is phase 1. But to your initial question, yes, we work together. Senator Chastain, Representative Sorrells, Representative Lee, we all, Senator Hawley, Representative Klaus, and myself, we worked to get that 52 done because we saw it helping all of us. Because eventually, if 167 gets done because of that, you're going to help the rest of the Wiregrass.
So that road really was because of the thing already. That's one of the
correct.
things the Wiregrass is seeing.
And Mayor Saliba, to his credit, saw the benefit of 167 and he was part of our delegation when we came to see the governor's office and going to Florida to talk to their DOT to get their interest. He's been part of this delegation also. So your question is Dothan against it? They do not seem to be. They say they are trying to help us.
You know, one thing that would benefit that, I guess some of the money would be helpful if the federal government came with the infrastructure thing.
Well, that is true.
And y'all probably get a lot of that done.
We would, especially since we have Fort Rucker and the Wiregrass, and that would help. They, because of Senator Richard Shelby, who you've alluded to many a times, probably the greatest statesman this state has ever had.
He really is.
Because of him and his leadership, we actually got a grant to do an economic study on 167 and Highway 52 coming out of Florida. And because it was a substantial $385,000-$400,000 grant that's going to be, when it comes out, hopefully in the summertime, it's going to show where the 167 corridor is needed and for economic development for the Wiregrass as a whole, including Dothan.
You know, I saw this and he told me he was going to do it. The amount of money he put into Fort Rucker just for in that last CARES Act.
Yes, sir.
He put extra money for Rucker in that CARES Act.
Yes, sir. And you know, again, I go back to Fort Rucker as the life center, the lifeblood of the Wiregrass. It is the hub. It supports the entire Wiregrass and is a economic engine that we cannot replace.
You can't. The actual base, I actually had Fort Rucker. I had the district West Allen for 2 decades there, and I had Fort Rucker, which was in my district. The most of it's in Dale County.
Yes, sir. That's true.
Does some of it go into Coffee a little bit?
Yes, sir.
So that's in Dale and Coffee.
That's right.
Combined. That's in that district comes out of Pike, because we came down there and we have to come down and get more people out of Dale. I had Dale. There's also a federal school there on the base in Daleville. Is that a total? What's the story about that? How does that work?
Well, if you live on the base, you are able to go to the base school.
So all the kids that go there are military children.
That's correct. That's correct, sir. And but they also have an option to go to the surrounding schools: Delville, Ozark, Carroll High School, or Enterprise.
But a lot of them want to go to Enterprise.
A lot of them do end up going to the Enterprise school system, but it's an elementary school.
Oh, is that all it is?
Yeah, right. And,
what grades? 1 through
1 through 6, but and I could be wrong about this, but I think they are trying to expand that, and they may have already. But with COVID, it's really messed up everything.
But that's just like elementary school.
That's correct. It was, and I think they like I said, I think they were trying to expand it into.
Well, can those children, even if they live on the base, they can choose.
They can choose.
They can go to Enterprise.
They can go to Enterprise and go to Ozark, Delville, Dale County, where
Well, if you're on the base, you get to choose either one of those school systems.
Yes, sir.
The Enterprise school system they did the right thing by putting a lot of emphasis on that school system and making it a great school system.
Yeah, absolutely. And Coffee
That's
County,
what attracts people.
That's exactly right. And that's what kept me in Enterprise for 21 years.
Exactly.
I raised my children there, and the school system's fantastic. But so is Coffee County school system. So is Elba school system, Dell County school. We have, the Wiregrass as a whole has a very good school system. And that is part of drawing economic development. Is you have to have good hospitals, have to have good infrastructure, and you have to have good schools. And we were lacking on the infrastructure side, and but we're trying to make up for that now, but we're working hard.
Representative Marques, let me ask you, y'all start the session. It looks like what's going to happen is you're going to have try to get these 3 bills that everybody wants to get out, the economic. Explain those bills to our viewers, the 3 bills that they want to get out, and then maybe y'all break after about 2 or 3 weeks. Is that the plan?
That's right. We're going to go 2 weeks, 3 days, 3 days.
For try to get those 3 bills out.
There's actually a total of 4, I believe, and then a break for 1 week, and then come back. Those bills, the first bill, there's 2 economic development bills and then the tax liability and also a COVID liability for businesses. I'll start with the COVID liability on businesses and first responder, the healthcare system. That bill is crucial for keeping frivolous lawsuits out of our system. COVID is one of those things, as you know, and our viewers know, or your viewers know, is that you cannot predict how COVID's going to transmit, how it's going to people are going to react to it, etc. And this bill is going to protect businesses that are doing the right thing, trying to, precautions, making people wear masks when they come in, keeping social distance, etc., and healthcare workers from these frivolous lawsuits. So it's a great bill. The next one is the CARES Act money, the stimulus money that the people of Alabama have received at this particular time is taxed at a state level for the state of Alabama, and it shouldn't be. And the federal has already come off. You don't pay federal tax on that stimulus money, but the state has. We're going to have to make that a law to take any kind of stimulus money that you got and remove the tax out of it. And that is a fantastic bill. The 2 economic development bills, they're kind of combo bills, but basically the Grow Alabama, and these are the tax incentives that we had already in place to draw people to Alabama, and obviously it's working. Toyota, Mazda, and Hyundai, and everything else that's come with it. But this is just to extend that out and sunset it in 2023. Right now, it actually ended in 2020, and the governor extended those with a executive order.
When y'all get back, I picked up something last night in the governor's state of the state, and with visiting some of the representatives and senators, that there is going to be a real effort to try to let people vote on gambling. I picked that up. That's the one thing I've been telling the media that I picked up on last night. There's going to be a real effort, which I'm glad to see, because I don't know anything about gambling. I probably never would buy a lottery ticket, but I've watched it all my life, and especially the last 25 years, every state around us, Florida below you and me and Georgia and every state around Tennessee, Mississippi, Mississippi funds about half their government off of gambling. And I'm going to tell you, if you put it on the ballot and you give them a clean bill, which I think it would be doing this time, that thing passed 70-30. People who in your church that are my age that would never buy a lottery ticket, and I'd be one of them, I'd vote for that. I'd be beating the door down to beat that. I am so tired of our dollars going out of state.
Yes, sir. 45 out of the 50 states.
Yeah.
And
I'm not trying to lobby you.
No, no. But
it's
the facts are the facts. I mean, you know, when it comes to the lottery, 45 states have it. Every state around us, and I, this is my personal belief. I have nothing to back this up. I don't believe it's probably going to generate the $200 to $300 million. Alabama typically does not have that much disposable income like the state of Florida with tourism, et cetera. But that's neither here nor there. When it comes to the lottery, I'm for letting the people decide on that. And, you know, Representative Klaus last 2 years has had good bills, clean lottery bills, as they were called, to vote, and they did not make it. Last year because of COVID, the year before because of, I think some of the legislators had a problem with how it was percentage of how the funds were going to be spent. But if it came a clean lottery bill, I'm with you. I think it would pass the state 70-30. The problem, though, that comes in is table gaming. If it is a combined bill, table gaming with lottery.
There's some legislators who are not wanting table gaming.
That is correct. Okay. And if you combine that to one bill, that creates problems.
So you think if you combine the two, that they won't get out of the legislature?
It will be more difficult.
Well, the commission that Governor Ivey came with.
It's $700 or $800 million. They were saying.
They said conservative 500.
Yeah.
They said if you do the
it's a
casino
lot
type, it's 500. And that study, they did such a good study. That was such a quality group of people doing that study that I would trust them to come back with something. I don't think the first one had anything to gain or care about.
I agree with that.
And they came back and said that if you went with casino and lottery, I'm like you. I think if you just do the lottery, you've missed the boat. I think that ain't worth almost fooling with. I mean, just the fact of keeping it in state.
Well, if you just come with lottery, though, it will pass.
Oh yeah.
But you come with lottery, casino
pass
combined.
The legislature, you mean?
And it passed the constitutional amendment for the people. People would vote on it 70-30. State of Alabama. But when you add the gaming into it, I don't know. I haven't polled the state and see if they want casino gaming, but I think it becomes a lot more controversial when you add the casino table gaming onto that.
You got to have some kind of the commission came back. The regulatory has to be there too.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
You got to have a real strong regulatory thing.
Yes, you do.
One thing too we touched on before the show. We only got about 3 minutes left. Y'all got to grapple reapportionment this year. Not only you got to do it this year too.
Yes, sir.
Now, what the Steve Klaus said, they're probably going to do it in 2 special sessions.
That's
the plan.
That's going to be the plan because I don't think we're going to get the numbers back until July.
No, you gonna be July before you get your numbers back?
June, July, and so.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, there's been some issues with the counting, and so earliest conservative would be May. But people are thinking it's going to be June, July.
Before y'all get the numbers to deal with.
That's correct. And then so we're going to be out of session, so it's going to have to be more than likely a special session.
Well,
and
that's y'all's campaign start. How would y'all handle that?
Well, your campaign, you can start raising money.
But people won't know where your district is.
Yeah.
I mean, you're not going to know. You mean they'll pretty much guess your district. Your district ain't going to change.
Yes, sir.
But Lord knows,
sir.
That's going to make it
very difficult,
especially in that congressional
and very tight. I mean, as far as getting everything finished, because like as you just said, if you start moving lines,
everybody's going to change.
And yes, sir.
It's a ripple
because
effect.
The state of Alabama, even though we've grown at a 3 to 4% clip, that's some areas like Coffee County, which is probably top 5 county in the state with numbers, at least top 10. Baldwin County #1, Madison County.
Y'all in top 5 as far as growth?
As far as the growth, yes, sir.
Mm-hmm.
I think we're 5 or 6. So, but Pike County's growing. Houston County's growing. You're going to have different lines in all those counties.
It's going. If you change one in Jefferson, you're going to have a ripple effect.
Yes, sir.
It changes. I've served on reapportionment.
Yes, sir.
And it ain't an easy task. I mean, you
can imagine.
You get these ripple effects coming from Mobile, and then think, well, and somebody wants Garden City in their district, and because they got an aunt up there who was popular, and it's that. I did not know it was going to be that long. So,
yeah.
But y'all got that's a congressional thing. It's going to be. It's going to be June or July before we know about the congressional.
Well, it's going to be before we get the numbers back. So we won't know whether we're going to lose a congressional seat until at least June, probably.
Well, I tell you what, you represent a good district there with Coffee County. You
Yes,
and I
I
in
do.
the same circuit. We got good circuit judges, and we got a good area of the state that we live in. It's home. The wiregrass is good to everybody. And you're right. The one thing you bring up, people don't realize this, but that whole Dothan area now, and which is about part of Enterprise, is medical. It was farming all those years, but now those 2 hospitals, because it's a mecca.
Yes, sir.
And I understand why that road was important. Now that was the reason Saliba and them wanted it was because
it's another artery.
Brings people in there.
And gets people out
That's
safely.
Right. Exactly.
And
that's right. Well, folks, our guest tonight has been a fine, distinguished young gentleman from Enterprise, Alabama, Coffee County, the state representative from Coffee County, Representative Rhett Marques. Even y'all may think he's Marques, but it's Rhett Marques, who is been doing an outstanding job his freshman year. And we thank Representative Marques for being with us tonight, and we thank you viewers for watching. Hope you tune in again next week for Alabama Politics. Thank y'all. Thank you. Goes by her.